thought I'd better start up again on the lever bow. Well, I decided to glue a block onto each tip. This is the thin slat that's going to be a test piece. Mark out a V that I'm going to cut out, and then splice in some offcut of ash or walnut or whatever. The other thing I've done, I've made up a jig, a wooden block to clamp the bow limb to, so that when I saw it, it would actually be sawn at the right angle for the lever to just slot into this V. Because if I cut it on the bandsaw with it dead flat, and then cut a V dead flat and then tried to glue them in at an angle, it just wouldn't sit properly. So theoretically this will sit on the bandsaw like that and cut in to saw my V, and it should all go together nicely. So better to try this on my little tryout with my thin slat than on the big bit. We'll see how that goes, and I'll do a bit more. Now that's got the V sawn, so you can see it gives quite a good surface area in there for some block of wood. So my lever can be like this and go in. In fact, that's probably quite a nice bit of wood for the lever. Just a scrap of that walnut. Not quite wide enough. Well, I've got some yew. I've probably got some that will go in there quite nicely. Right, that's my lever sort of going to splice in. And that's taught me a good deal already, because marking out the splice, it's nowhere near as long on this top edge as it is measuring along at 45 degrees. Obviously the hypotenuse is a lot longer than the doodah. It's the geometry of it. So, and that's one of the advantages of having a quick play like this. And because it's a low power, little tryout, the glue line will probably be perfectly alright, and it will probably hold. But it's a good learning exercise, so I don't go and screw up on the full size one. The other thing, of course, is if you're making a proper lever, you'd ideally use a bit of wood with an actual bend in it. So you've got a curve, but it's surprisingly hard. I've spent a lot of time wandering around the woods looking for offcuts of trees, where they've been doing tree work, or branches with natural bends in. Surprisingly hard to find a decent one. You think you've got a bent one, by the time you've cut it up you find there's actually very little bend really. There's nothing as sharp as that. Anyway, yes, this V-splice just isn't really going to be satisfactory. There's not a lot of glue area, and that's the whole point of experimenting with something like this. It's taught me that this is a bad idea, therefore I need to look for a good idea. So what I'll do is I'll cut the splice, I'll take away the silly jig, just do everything flat, cut the V in this flat, and I'll have the splice going straight into it, but I'll have the bend on the lever, which sets a completely new set of problems. How do you get a bend on a lever? Well, you can either laminate it out of a load of thin slats, which each individually is easy to bend, or in the case of this lightweight one, I can just cut it out of something like 18mm birch ply, which is pretty strong stuff. And to that end I've just got on the magic of the interweb and ordered myself some. So there's a lot to be said for going quick and dirty and having an experiment, because you can make the mistakes in the comfort of your own home without ruining a lot of work. But the nice thing about this is I should be able to do my experiments and plot forced draw curves and see how it behaves and play with lengths of levers. It should be good fun.